Hey guys. Okay, so there was a button I was like sitting here talking, like, hi, can you hear me? And I didn't hit go live. So I'm testing out StreamYard now, which you guys told me about last time. So thank you for that. But anyways, now I'm actually live. Yay. All right, so everyone can hear me now, see me now. This is a lot better because I can see you over here. Okay, someone comment that I'm like, this is on, it's working. Big Gulp says hi. We've got Betty, Reed, Morgan, Katie, Kathy, Brian. Hi, Brian. Samantha. So I tried to set it up so that my laptop and camera is in the same, but it might not have worked. So I'm going to try and look up here. But I'm excited because we're talking about Q4 today. So all things Q4 on my YouTube channel. I have like a little Q4 prep series that I'm going over. So that starts next Monday. Unofficially kicking off right now. So if you have any Q4 questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments or the chat or whatever we call it here. And yeah, I don't remember. I think I already said that live. Anyways, I was live, but I wasn't live, but now I'm live. This one a lot smoother than my last one. So yeah, if you have, like I said, any questions, go ahead and pop in. I have a little like swamp cooler AC fan thing right here that's blowing at me because it's still 100 degrees here in Oklahoma. So if you hear that, I'm sorry, but I just can't. I'm already sweating even with that. Yeah. So someone asked, where did you go? How my recovery is. Oh, let's test this out, shall we? My leg is, I would say it's probably 90% now. The only thing that's weird is that I still go downstairs one leg at a time. I'm trying out going like normally. It's like I don't remember how I walk normally. But other than that, I've been signed off by the doctor. It's all healing. And I've been back sourcing. I did 15-hour day last Tuesday, and I was packing up that shipment. Don't you just hate when the shipments are like, it was small little beauty items, so that took forever, and they took extra prep because there was time price stickers, and then there was like the little security tags on some of them, and then they had to be polybagged, and or the stickers to like seal them so that no one thinks they've been opened already, and it was just a real pain. So that I was like, oh, no problem, 2 days, I'll get this out. It ended up taking all week. I literally finished last night at like 9:30 at night, and it got dropped off at the UPS store today. And that the whole time yesterday, I'm like, oh, I'm not sourcing anymore. That was just like way too much. I need a break. But of course, Q4 is here, and so it's about to be like that every week, which is exciting, especially since the shipment I dropped off last Monday, that all that stuff's already started to sell. So that's exciting, and that's motivating to get back out there. But man, that shipment was brutal. It was like 600 units altogether. But so yeah, my leg is fully recovered. So thank you for asking. I am going to go through the comments real fast. I have a couple of Q4 things that I wanted to just talk about. Last live, I just kept answering questions and didn't even get, I had like a whole thing planned and didn't even get to it, which was fine. I enjoy answering questions. Viviana says she needs help with shipping. I think I mentioned this before. If not, I've mentioned it somewhere, but just put just one item out there and make a couple different shipping templates. So I don't know if you guys follow on Instagram, but I posted that I was the only seller on that product while I was sourcing on Tuesday. I listed it in store. I only got 3 at first. It was totally sold out when I scanned it. It was like 10,000 in health and household. And I looked at Keepa, and Keepa showed that Amazon was sold out. So I was like, sweet, I'm going to see if anyone's going to buy it. But the thing is that like Keepa showed is a newer product. Keepa showed that it was only selling for, I think it was like $18, whatever Amazon sells it for. And so I was like, you never know how high you can really go, right? because you'll start getting those price cap things. Amazon thinks it's too high and they'll like deactivate your listing because of the price. So I was really like, oh shoot, how high can I go? So what I did was I have a $9.99 flat rate template. I just put it at, I think it was like $28, and then I added that onto shipping. So Amazon doesn't consider that part of the price, right? So if they were going to cap it at $30, but I could put it at $20, but then charge $10 for shipping. And those 3 sold like right after I had gotten out of that first Walmart. And so the second Walmart, I literally cleared the whole shelf and listed all of those, and those started selling. And so Amazon did jump back on the listing. I think I sold just under 40 of them that first day while I was outsourcing. So that was super exciting. But what I learned is, so I ended up making $5 on the shipping because it's a small item and it only costs $4 to ship it. But I learned that I need, because I don't like charging the customer shipping. I'm worried that they're not going to buy it, but I realized I needed to add a $4.99 flat rate. So what happened when you list the 1? So I only listed the 3. They all sold. I could do the quick math that when you get that email that's sold ship now, you can do the math and see like, okay, it's going to cost, I knew it was only going to cost like $4.50 at the most to ship it. I was like, okay, well then I know I'm going to make money on this. So then I listed the rest of them, but you have to list that 1. And I did that specifically because I was like, am I going to make money on this? Is it even going to be worth it? It's kind of an expensive item to just make a couple of dollars. But it ended up being worth it. But definitely test out 1 item, just list 1, test out your shipping template. I learned that I know shipping templates. So you want to get all that stuff figured out right now before you're in the heart of Q4. So I would just know, I say this all the time, if it's small, lightweight, it's going to fit in a padded envelope, then you can go ahead and assume at the very high end, if it's under a pound, it's going to cost $6 to ship it. It rarely ever does. $5.50 is the most that it ever really costs me. And it's really light, like a couple ounces, then it's probably only going to be like $3 or $4. So that can help you with your shipping templates. I'm going to go through the chat real fast. Kathy says it's hot here in Texas. I bet it is. I may have said this. When I came to Oklahoma, it was June of 2020, and I remember it being hot, but we were using our generator. We didn't have solar at the time, and I don't remember dying. So it's clearly hotter than it normally is, but I would expect it to be hot in Texas. Morgan says sometimes packing is a drag. My problem is that I don't mind it if I have a good podcast, but I listen to all my podcasts. So I was clear out of podcasts, and so that made it worse. I was watching The Closer on TV most of the time. I think I went through like 2 seasons of it. 600 units. How much did I spend? So that shipment, sorry, I scrolled back a little bit. That shipment, I think, I can't remember. It might still be in I have a photo of it. It was in my stories. It cost me $6,584, and a lot of it was OA. And the thing I'm realizing with OA is that, like, I wasn't planning on prepping all that. It just arrived at the same time, so that was a little bit much added to it. Question about transparency codes. So the transparency codes are so that people who are stealing products or whatever, they're not able to just sell them on Amazon. So it's tracking where the item was. What I have heard, and I've not done it yet, is that you have to have 5 of an item. And if you take a photo of all 5 of those transparency codes, you can send it to Amazon. It just kind of looks like the same ungating little breakdown where you submit it. And if you submit that, then you will get approved to do it. Again, I've not tried it, so if you've tried it, let me know. If you Google transparency code, it looks like a little QR code, and it has like a little T. It's like near the barcode, I think. In the past, what I've done is been like, I don't know what that is, and I take it to the store. But now I know what it is, and so hopefully, so you can try it out. But I have heard that you have to have 5. Another question. I'm so sorry. I'm not even going to try and say your name. O has a question. I have bought some hair dyes without realizing they're hazmat. How do I sell them? You have to FBM them. I think hair dye you can send in if you're a part of the dangerous goods in your Seller Central. Just go into the search bar and type in hazmat and dangerous goods, and you might be able to apply to the program if you're not already. Sometimes I hear there's a wait list. Sometimes you can just get in it. So, excuse me, you might get like an email later on saying to apply to it. Either way, so what happens is when you pack up your shipment, it's going to break it out into its own shipment for FBA, and you have to physically go mail that. So what I did was I just went to the post office and paid for it and mailed them ground. So you need to send them ground. If they're hazmat, that's the whole reason they can't be flown through the air. Or you can FBM them and again, just ship them ground. So back to FBM, I have a flat rate ground only because I accidentally listed a cologne, which is you can't send through the air. I accidentally sold it. And they wanted expedited, of course. And I was like, oh, shoot. So now I have a flat rate or free shipping ground only where I don't have that 2-day option as an option. So that doesn't happen. Matthew says, having a hard time finding beauty products to flip. Any suggestions? So I find some at TJ Maxx, those kind of stores, but the best places, unfortunately, sometimes Ollie's has good stuff, is like Grocery Outlet, those type of stores. I have a local store that is where I'm getting most of my inventory right now. So if you have any local stores, now be careful of bin stores because those are usually Amazon returns and they were returned for a reason. Returned for a reason. So you just want to be careful reselling that as new. So it just beware of bin stores because those are popping up all over the place. But yeah, so those, if you have any local discount places, they might be able to get stuff. But honestly, I find great stuff at TJ Maxx all the time. They just had their whole yellow tag clearance in your area, might still be going on, but they're getting ready to put all the new stuff out. So definitely, this is the time of year right now. All the stores are resetting. So I'm sure you're aware Walmart has a huge clearance event going on right now. Some of the Walmarts I went to had clearance aisles. Actually, just one. I went to 3 Walmarts. One had a clearance aisle and some had clearance in the toy aisle. And then a local Walmart I went to had a ton of Legos on clearance. And so I got a bunch of Legos and I'm going to hold, which I never do. So that's exciting to see if it pays off. But everything is resetting right now for Q4. So you're going to start to see all those new toys coming in. So just be aware of what's new. Scan it. It might be so new that's not there. It might be new and only Amazon's selling it. But just be aware of what's new because that's going to come into play. If you start to see them kind of disappear from the stores after they were in there, that's an indicator that maybe it's a hot toy. If you have kids in your life, it's probably a lot easier for you to identify hot toys and shows than it is me, where I'm just like going off of what the store's telling me. But definitely be aware of that kind of stuff as we roll into Q4. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to keep going through your chats, but I'm going to go to my little Q4 notes here. So there's 2 regrets that I had and other sellers have had after their first Q4. And I'm going to tell you them right now so that if it's your first Q4, that you are aware of it. The number 1 regret is not having enough money. Number 2 is having enough inventory. And they really can go hand in hand. However, you can have the money and just not have had the inventory. So I just want you to be aware of those 2 regrets. So plan now, if you can, save as much money, keep as much money in your business to roll over. So all that stuff that you're selling right now, when you get your Amazon payouts, just go buy more inventory and keep sending it in. You really want to limit your risk. So this is my 6th Q4, and this is my first time buying toys, Legos, holding them. I might not even sell them during Q4. I might sell them next year because the most of them are discontinued or they will be discontinued. And so that's why I'm holding them. But I don't recommend doing that unless you have unlimited capital to where you can. So I have $1,000 of Legos now. that are not going to sell. That's $1,000 of my capital. I can do that right now, my 6th Q4. If you can't do that, don't do that. I don't ever recommend buying something that you are assuming is going to be hot during Q4. I don't recommend holding toys right now. Sell them right now. If they're selling right now, sell them and then go buy more and sell some more. You want to keep rolling that money over to make the most profit. And a lot of people, Q4 is really gonna like come up on you. It's like a sharp bell, right? Like the week before was Halloween, it really starts to take off. But up until then, it feels like it's okay. It depends on your products, right? But it feels like okay, like it's maybe then all of a sudden it's just gonna take off. And so you really want to be prepared that if you had all those risky buys then and now you don't have any money to buy more inventory, you're really kind of screwed. So you want to be sending as many shipments in, as much inventory that's going to sell and that's going to rotate. Now I have my free rank guideline, which is at my website, yoursellingguide.com/giveaway. When this is up later, I might already be there. There's a link below that you just sign up for my email letter and it'll get sent over to you. So that's going to tell you what I recommend as guidelines of things that are going to sell. That means if it's at rank, it's going to sell. You don't really have to worry about if that's a good rank or not. If you're buying stuff during Q4, I've been buying toys right now that are 300,000 in rank, and that's kind of okay. But again, you want to, it's okay for me because I can sit on it. If you can't sit on it and you want to flip it, you want to kind of be identifying those lower ranks. So just keep that in mind. Capital, if you trust yourself and want to use a credit card and you don't have one yet, see if you can open a credit card right now and just get that going. Please be smart with them. I have gotten out of credit card debt twice in my life. It's really dumb. I'm done with them. I'm a lot better now, but I think they're really handy for businesses specifically. So I talk about them now, but just know I have that past, and I know that if you're not smart with your money, if you are a new seller, you're not sure what's going on with Amazon yet, like you're still learning, I hesitate to say use a credit card because you don't want to end up giving up on this and being in debt from it. So yeah, those are the 2 things that sellers have said, including myself. I said it before in a video that I had, or maybe it's a video for next Monday. But anyways, I had my first Q4. I had a week and a half in November, like the middle of November, the height. It's like really like your last, like you want to send in all your shipments in November because then you have all of December. I mean, still keep sending stuff. But anyways, I couldn't go buy anything for a week and a half and it was torture. And I was in like I think it was in the Tampa area of Florida. So there's stores everywhere and I just couldn't source and it was really bad. So don't be like me. Definitely everything sells, literally everything. So whatever you're buying, the rank's good, like home, like coffee, everything's going to sell. It doesn't have to be holiday themed. It's going to sell. Just make sure your stores are stocked. Okay, I'm going to go have a couple more prep comments, but I'm going to go through your chats now. I'm going to scroll back a little bit. Can you sell pain meds and cough meds? If you scan something and Amazon says you can sell it, you can sell it. Obviously, things pop up where you might get an IP or something like that, but I wouldn't worry about it for health and beauty items. Yes, I wouldn't worry about it for like cough meds, but if Amazon says you can sell it, you can sell it. Hey, Rich. Asked if I'm having a 4th quarter bolo. Yes, the group is opening middle of September. If you're on the email list, you'll be the first to know. I'm really excited about that group. It's a really awesome group. So it's a 4th quarter coaching. We have live calls like this. Only you can hang out too on Facebook and chat back. You can talk to the other sellers. It's really a great time. I started it last year and I'm excited that this will be the 2nd year. Kathy, do you mark your products down 30% once they don't have sell for 3 months? I don't have a percent that I'm marking them down. I just kind of start matching the buy box. Like I have some stuff, I actually wrote a video that I'm going to film, but I have stuff from my grocery outlet sourcing, which was in April. And it's like just sitting there. And unfortunately, because I was only there for a week, I like bought a lot more than I probably normally would if I could just go run out and grab some more. So it's like mostly like toothpaste type stuff, but it is just sitting. I'm selling it now for, I think I'm losing money just to kind of get rid of it. I don't generally ask for things back because what am I going to do with a bunch of toothpaste? And I mean, I guess I could give it away, but it's going to come back all smushed if you've ever gotten something back from Amazon. So I'm just trying to move through it at this point. But I don't have a percentage I mark them down. I just kind of get rid of stuff. Jose asks, what kind of FBM bad reviews can be removed by Amazon? That's the one downside, is that it's really hard to get a bad review FBM removed. I don't think I have any, but you want to make sure. They generally will reach out to you if there's a problem, and that's why I always just look within exception. So I would just say refund them and cut. Like if your product arrives smashed, refund them. Like package your stuff so it's going to arrive on time. But like one person, it was a tech deck that we sold last year, and they said like, I can't even remember the word. It's something to do with skateboards, and I'm not aware of the skateboard terms, but something they said underneath was scratched. These things were boxed. It was like a solid box. You couldn't even see the item inside of it. And so I was like, okay, well, send me a photo of it, because that just seems like they're trying to scam me. They never sent a photo of it. And so I didn't refund them, and there was no bad review there. It's just you're kind of edging that line of, are they going to leave you a bad review? And because Amazon, for FBA, they'll remove almost everything. But if the review was about a product, like, oh, this product tastes awful, they'll remove that because it's not about you, it's about the product. But other than that, it's kind of a little bit harder. But I wouldn't let that deter you, because FBM has really good perks. Mainly that there's a lot less fees right now, and you have buy box. Oh, that item, I'm still selling it. Amazon's on it, and I'm still selling it because I don't really want to return it yet. I'm gonna wait out the. I'm back. That was weird. Sorry. Jack asks, how would you package slide slippers that come without a box? I just polybag them. I put two labels. I put a label over the UPC on the item, and then I polybag, and then I put a label on the bag itself. But you can just do one. As long as they can set UPC through the polybag, it's fine. Callie Flippin asked, super low ranked items that Amazon is selling. So I don't really recommend trying to compete with Amazon unless you have the money and the time to wait. Using Keepa, so if you don't know, if you go on Keepa, I'm pretty sure it has to be the paid one though. So if you go to Keepa in the app, you can scroll over to buy box statistics on an item, and on the desktop, you hit go to data and then buy box statistics, and it will tell you if Amazon shares the buy box. So if they share it, then it's, it's a little more likely that they'll share it with you. So it's not a big deal. But if they are not sharing it, you're kind of risking if they're going to sell out or not, right? So I wouldn't, unless they sell out. Unless you want to hold it and FBM it if they do. That's one of the great things about FBMing. So in years past, really Q4 was the only time I would FBM, because when Amazon sells out of something, that price goes up. And if you can FBM it before they come back in stock, just like I did this week, you can make a lot of profit. And so that's why FBMing during Q4 is really great and year round. But if you ever have a hot product that they are sold out of, so that's like a risk I probably wouldn't take unless it's a very specific item. But as a general, just saying, I probably wouldn't do it. But again, everyone sells differently. So if you want to try it, try it. Hobby asked, what's a decent goal of money to spend on one trip at Target? I have spent like $20. I've spent like $600. So it just depends what you found. I wouldn't go into it with that kind of pressure. You might not find anything, but you might find stuff. So I usually do well during Q4 at Target, but otherwise, like, if don't pressure yourself. If you don't find anything, you don't find anything. I walked out of one of the, not this week, but last week, I walked out of Walmart with nothing. Kind of sucks, but it happens. I've been noticing at TJ Maxx, like towards the end of the day, or Marshall's, whatever, they're all the same to me. I'll be like, oh, this looks cute, like for me, and I'm like, oh, I'm done for the day. When you start buying stuff for yourself, you know the day is over. Jennifer, congratulations on starting. How did you start selling from your RV? I've only ever sold from the RV. We were already on the road by the time I started, and let me tell you, sometimes it is tight. Like this week, half the week the stuff was outside. Last week too, actually. And I had it was like a chance of rain, and so I had to hurry up and get it inside and pack it up, and it works. I mean, if I can do it here, I was like, man, I'm jealous of all you guys who have like a garage. Like, that's crazy. Would love a garage. I have a little shed at this point, and that's been great. Do you charge for returning? So you used to be able to, but I don't know of a way now. You used to be able to make them pay for the shipping back. If something gets like, if they've ruined it and it's not sellable, you can do a restocking fee and get some of your money back. However, you have to like send photos to Amazon of the item, and I've never done it, but I know it's possible. If you just if it was a high price item and you really feel like kind of screwed over, there's that possibility. Samantha, heading on vacation for October and half of November. I would send in as much stuff as you possibly can in September, and your Q4 is just not going to be that great. But if just as soon as you get back from vacation, start sending stuff in again for. I know that you're in Canada, so I'm not sure. I would say FBM if you're in the US, then just FBM for the back half of that Q4. But since I know you're in Canada and that's expensive, if your stuff, I don't know how fast your guys' stuff in Canada goes to like gets to the warehouse. So if your stuff goes fast, you're still fine. You can send stuff in FBA. By the 1st of December, I would stop sending in any specific Christmas stuff. Now toys sell year round, so keep sending those in. But any Christmas like specific stuff, stop sending that stuff in and start thinking about FBM. You can kind of, you'll get to know your warehouse by that point. Your warehouse might be clicking along fine right now, but during Q4, everything's going to start to slow down. Not all warehouses, but some of them are bad. And so if you start to notice that, you have to consider that and start thinking that you might be FBMing. Have I mentioned you want to start FBMing right now? There's a lot of things that happen, so you want to get comfortable with it right now, because if your warehouse slows down, then you might have to stop FBAing holiday stuff even sooner. But if you're noticing that your stuff gets checked in real fast, you can pretty much go, you're taking a risk, but you can start to go all the way like to the 7th of December into December a little bit, because if it gets checked in fast, I think it's around Thanksgiving that Amazon will start to put like, this will arrive before Christmas or this will arrive after Christmas on the buy box so that the customer knows. Excuse me. So those kind of things will start to happen. And so it's not to say that people won't buy it. People have parties all the time. You go to your, second family, friends, whatever, after Christmas. So it could still sell, but just be aware of that as you're going in. And it's, if you're taking off a big chunk, that's pretty much half of Q4. So it might just be slower, but that's fine. Just have your expectation going into it, but it'll still sell if you can get it in. Katie asked, what if Amazon starts limiting the space you have in the warehouse? So that's actually the video I was writing about IPI scores. If your IPI is in that green area, it's like a range of pink to green. If you're in the green, doesn't matter if you're right on the line. As long as you're in the green, you are fine and you won't have any limits. If you're an individual seller, your limit is already 10 cubic feet. And if you are a professional seller and you have a low IPI, then you might get a limit. It's not to say that you definitely will, and it'll be 25. And to fix that, you would just take care of your IPI. A lot of it is stranded and unfulfillable inventory. You got to get rid of your old, like over 90-day inventory, start to get rid of that, all those kind of things. Andrea asked, do bad reviews affect your sales? They can affect your buy box eligibility, but if you're in like the 90s or like 8 like and above percentage wise, you're fine. Like one bad review, unless you only have one, is not going to really affect it. Excuse me. Jose asked how much RA versus OA of my business now that I have like a place I can ship it to. I would say I'm about 30% OA right now, and it's been nice. I actually really like it. I've even been replenishing some stuff OA, which is always a good thing. Actually easier. I don't have to go get it. Have you guys seen, does Walmart have their costumes yet? They didn't when I went, and that's what I've been waiting for. It doesn't even look like they're starting to consolidate the back to school yet. It's still like 4 aisles. So I'm waiting for those costumes to hit. Okay. What are my top 3 products to sell during Q4? I don't really can't tell you because a lot of things different change, but I sell everything literally. But I sell lots of grocery stuff, I sell toys, and I sell lots of home stuff during Q4 specifically, off the top of my head. Queen City asked about my Q4 guide. Sending in stuff for October. If you see Christmas stuff now, I would send it in now. If you see it in a rank in like home, it's like 400 to 300. That means it's pretty kind of selling right now for it to be that low right now. And so it's only going to get better. So I would actually send stuff in now if you find it. So definitely get it in. It's kind of like, so it's interesting that all the holidays are at the end of the month for the most part, right? So Halloween's at the end of the month. So by October, you really want to be sending in, if you're going to send in costumes and that kind of stuff, you want to send that in September. So that's the tricky thing about Q4. It's good for us now that it feels like, summer stuff was gone in July and back to school was already there. It's good for us as sellers, even though as customers are like, what the heck, it's still summer. But as soon as you start seeing that stuff, you want to send it in because it has to get there, right? It has to do the whole, you pack it up, it has to ship there, it has to be checked in and transferred. So it's going to take some time. So really by that first week of October, you can't really send in any FBA Halloween stuff anymore unless you're risking that time that it's going to transfer around. The same thing, not that Thanksgiving is necessarily a huge holiday, but it is a good holiday. But then it's Black Friday, right? And so you have to get all of your stuff that you want in there for Black Friday, which is probably stuff that's going to sell all of December anyways. But you want to get all that stuff in by the beginning of November. And same thing with Christmas specific stuff. You want that all in by the beginning of December. So it kind of sucks, and why you want to be FBMing, because your time frame for FBA is so narrow and like long. So the Christmas stuff probably won't be out while it's still Halloween stuff, right? And so it starts to go out in November. So as soon as you see it, start scanning it. Amy says, what if it says we're not accepting applications? So I only know of a couple brands that have that. Some like high-end beauty, but like LOL Dolls has that. They just never have been open. So you just are never going to be able, even if you got an invoice, you wouldn't be able to get approved because they're just not open. Morgan says, no Halloween costumes yet. AJ says if a customer pays for expedited shipping and there's 2 options to get it there, you just have to get it there by that date. So you can pick whatever one is cheaper. Generally, if they paid for it and it seemed like if it was the same price and it would seem like it's going to get there, I would do the air one just because the customer has the perception that it got there faster. But if you're going to save like a couple dollars and it's like UPS 2-day and USPS, I would probably do UPS. They're a little more reliable, but you can pick whichever one. Oh, the good thing. So my free shipping template it has free ground, that has standard, which is basically the same thing as free, only Amazon tells the customer it's going to get there faster because the shipping time is a little bit shorter. So they will pay $4 for it, and that ends up just covering the shipping that was going to have to pay anyway. So that happened a lot. So I highly recommend having that, standard whatever one, because the customer thinks they're paying for it to get it faster, even though they're going to get it at the same rate it would have been as free. It just now covers your cost and you make a little more profit. I do not have 2-day on any of my templates. I only have expedited because it's more vague. Excuse me. It will get there. It could get there in 2-day if I do priority. But with 2-day, you're kind of like locked into that a little bit more. So just be aware if you have 2-day, definitely I would not recommend overnight, but you do you. Uncheck those options because that could really get you into a bind. If you ever have an order that has to ship today, but obviously it's not going to go out today. It's late at night, right? It's not late yet, but it's getting late at night, and it's not. No one's going to pick it up, right? Just print that label. Even if you're going to drop it tomorrow, the customer and Amazon is getting that notification today, and your account won't get dinged because you do have to send stuff on time. But just be aware that if you ship late, you're going to get like your account at risk for a week or two, because it's going to knock your percentage of like late orders out because you probably don't do a lot of FBM. And so I'm speaking from experience. And so you want to make sure you ship it on time, even if that just means that you printed the label that night. When I was at in the hotel in June, I was like, dang it, I forgot to print the label. I literally did it on my phone. And then when I got back into my printer the next day, I printed it out. But whatever you got to do, just make sure you're shipping stuff on time. Thanks, Andrea. Okay, so I did a little bit of research today, and so now I'm excited to tell you guys. Oh, before I forget, if you're watching this live or you're watching this in the next couple of days, I did a special promo code for my Q4 guide and the ungating guides in the US. It's LIVE8, the number 8, because we're in August. So LIVE8 for 30% off any of those items. It's the US guides only, and it expires on the 17th of August at like 11:59 Central Time or something. So it's there. I'll drop it in the notes while this is live, but if you're watching this after the 17th, so sorry. But if you want to get ungated right now, or you want to grab the guide, again, 30% off with the code LIVE8. And I was like telling Jocelyn, oh my gosh, I hope I don't forget to even say it. Okay, so I did some research. So how to prep for Q4 right now. Of course, watch for new things on the shelf. I'm pretty sure that Karma's World stuff, I learned today, is an old Netflix show, but those are new toys. I think it said it's the 3rd season. If you found stuff at the Walmart clearance aisle right now, this week, later, next week, just know it's probably going to tank in price, but it will come back up. So all those sellers who just want to keep matching and dropping a penny and whatever, they're going to do that, especially when they got it on clearance because it's a little bit cheaper. And so it's going to probably tank in price, but don't keep racing to the bottom. Let those low ballers sell out. Just something to keep in mind all through Q4, really. If something is on sale, and not necessarily on sale at a time customers aren't paying attention, but if it's on sale like a Black Friday deal, a lot of sellers are probably going to get that. And so just be aware it's probably going to tank in price. Something to watch. Speaking of pricing, again, you don't have to nickel and dime and drop. That's like really old school thinking of how to do Amazon. It probably was a buy box algorithm point then, but you guys, I'm selling something for $30 that Amazon is on for 15 and I'm selling it. So it doesn't matter what your price is. There's like a million different examples within the community. If you're in any of the groups, I'm sure you've seen them, but you don't have to drop the penny. Like, especially if you want a replen. That's the thing that drives me crazy is everyone wants a replen, but they also nickel and diming dropping the price. And so if you do that, your replen is not going to last very long. So let those sellers sell out. You can tell by the sellers' review counts how experienced or what kind of seller they are. So this came up in the Bolo group today. If a seller's review count is like thousands, they're probably a very big seller and they are selling for slim margins, a lot of quantity, just like Amazon and Walmart. They're selling really slim profit margins, but they're selling so much of it that it makes up for it. So they can lower their price. You can wait them out. You can use Keepa extensions to see how many they have and wait them out. If it is a new just launched seller or a seller that has a couple reviews, they're an RA seller. They probably don't have a lot of stock. Just let them sell out. Don't keep matching and lowering the price. And now for my tip that I did some research on. Okay, so it said, I was like, look, think about hot movies, TV shows, things kids watch that are coming up. And I was like, I keep saying this. Let me just do some research. So I researched what Netflix has coming down the line. If you already have kids, you probably already know this. So just bear with me. There is a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Those sell all the time. I have found that stuff from my childhood actually sells still. The only thing that doesn't is, no, I just blanked on it. Like He-Man. Well, that's not really my childhood. That's older than me. But anyways, like He-Man doesn't really sell. But Teenage Mutant Ninja, not even gonna try it. Sonic, that stuff sells. There is, okay, so I have heard this. It's not even in production yet, but there is a competition show because I love the British baking show. I like binged that last year and now I'm all caught up. But there's a new show and they're going to be cooking with easy bake ovens and they're adults. And I can't wait for that show. So next year, whenever that comes out, expect easy bake ovens to take off. But there's a junior baking show with kids based off of the Great British one. So that will be coming out. I think it comes out this month. I'm excited about that. But so there's baking stuff does well anyways during Q4, but just know like the kids might be into it. So again, easy bake oven maybe. A Karma's World, which I already touched on. There's a new Pokemon season coming out. Pokemon beware. If the brand is not Pokemon, don't list on it. You'll get an IP. The brand should be Pokemon. The brand should be Disney. Whatever the brand of your thing, it should match. There's another kid show, like preschool, called Big Tree City. I don't know if they're going to have any toys, if it'll be like a Cocomelon. This next one is Deepa and Anoop. I might have butchered that. But Mattel is producing it. So there's almost definitely going to be toys for that. So watch out for that show. Again, it's a preschool show. And there's a Sonic Prime, which I don't know if it was I think it said it was a show. And I'm sure you all know that Sonic does really well. So there'll be probably new toys. And so watch out for the Sonic stuff. All right, that was all my excited to tell you. Mostly that one that I read when Mattel is producing it. So I used to work at Mattel, and they have some flops. There was some stuff that came out that was a flop. So you do never know. But the fact that it's a preschool show on Netflix, I have a pretty good feeling that it's probably going to do well and likely to have toys. All right, we're going back to your comments. So if you have any questions, that was all my notes I had. So if you have any questions on Q4, go ahead and ask. Sarah asks, when is FBM more effective or better than FBA? I've kind of touched on this, but if Amazon sold out of something temporarily, if it's getting close to the holiday and you cannot FBM it anymore, FBA it anymore. But at this point, now that Amazon's warehouses are like inundated, it happened ever since COVID when they kind of got slammed. But since the warehouses are like running a little sluggishly and like lower effective, they raised the cost of the fees for us. So they're really prioritizing FBM since they don't have to do all that stuff. So you actually get the buy box. And that thing I'm selling, that Amazon's on, I'm FBMing it. And obviously they're FBAing it. And I'm still getting sales like one a day. It's not the, the ones I sold on Tuesday, but I'll take it. Oh no, Viviana said she learned about FBM. Next day shipping. Yeah, that's another thing with the next day shipping, 2-day shipping, is you're gonna pay a lot to ship it. Rhea says Halloween is already starting to sell. Yeah, if as soon as you see, I mean, I know you've probably already seen it if you've been sourcing. It's like TJ Maxx and HomeGoods like threw up Halloween, which is fun, but yeah. Oh, another thing I have been doing a lot is now I never had the Amazon app before, like a customer app. And now I have it, and it's right below my seller app because I am using that so much. I'm actually Googling the item to find the Amazon listing while I'm in store sourcing now. It's really kind of crazy that the seller app, obviously, if, as I'm sure you know, doesn't always come up. You can type in the product and it doesn't come up. It might even guess what you're doing and still nothing come up. I go over to either Google or now the Amazon app to look for it. Brian said also on Netflix. Oh yeah, there's another Jurassic World. Those toys always do well too. You just have to find the good ones. Sometimes Amazon's on them. How do I hunt for online arbitrage products? So you can search a website just like you would in a store and like scan with your phone. I've been using TA, Tactical Arbitrage now, and I really like it. Mainly, I've learned the stores to look for. If you have a product that's selling and you get it at Walmart, like just Google it and see if it's sold anywhere else. You might be able to find it cheaper or more of it. There's a lot of different strategies, but I hate just saying that I use tactical arbitrage and that's how I love it now, but it really is. And I hate saying it because it is, one, expensive, and two, it's like a whole other learning curve. If you just learned Amazon, it's like learning it all over again. So it does take some time to learn it, but once you do crack it, I hated online arbitrage for like 5 years, and now I really, really enjoy it. And it was one thing that I didn't know how or when I would get a product, right? Like it's hard when you're always on the move to make sure it's going to get to your campsite. But taking that part out of it, it was just frustrating trying to find something. Like I would search and search for hours and not find anything. I could go to the store and find stuff. And so it was like not worth my time to do online arbitrage. However, now that I've started to use tactical arbitrage, I know what stores have stuff. I know I can find stuff better. And when you first do it, I just did that video a week or two ago. It's like I found like almost $500 of stuff within an hour using tactical arbitrage. So they gave me, you can get 7 days free. They gave me, I think it's just my name, Nikki, code where you get an extra 3 days, so 10 days. But if you can take the time to learn it, it really is handy. And now I love it. But it definitely is that learning curve. Hoppy girl. I got an inauthentic claim. Amazon is not accepting my invoices. I would not so with Amazon, I don't ever stop until I get the response I want, because they will take your receipt. They'll even take your receipt. If you have an invoice, even better. But there's somewhere in there where you can apply. I know on IP and counterfeit, right there, it says appeal. But if you can find where it's at, it's been a while since I've got it inauthentic, but if you can send in, even if you have to email or open a case, just proving that it's not. And then I never stop until I get the answer that I want. And like people always ask me, oh, I heard they're not taking receipts. They won't take your receipts, blah, blah, blah. They will. They will take your receipts. They don't care where you source your stuff from, as long as you can just show them that you are not stealing it, basically. But just keep sending them in. And I know it's like you want to just scream, but they're super frustrating, but I always just keep going. All right. I don't know if these comments are still in order, but is there any other questions? What is the best way to ship out a pallet? I have not done a pallet. I've received a pallet, and I packed that up and sent it out, but I have not shipped out a pallet yet, so I don't know about that. So I don't have, I can probably do a shipping template video now. I don't have, I have the how to FBA, like it's a couple years old now. And I think I touch on it a little bit, but I now am like more comfortable. The thing with shipping templates is there's like a million ways to do them. I can show you what I do and what's worked for me. And so that's why I've always kind of been like, do I know what I'm doing? Do I not know what I'm doing? But I mean, it works for me. So I can show you what I do. It's really when you send out your first order and you realize you did it right or did wrong, you're going to learn a lot and be more comfortable and confident in your shipping templates. I do not have an action plan that got pulled by recall. Are they asking you for something or are they just pulling it? Because there's nothing really you can do. I'm pretty sure they're not going to send it back to you. How do I track my profits? Inventory Lab profit calculator. If you're talking about Scoutify, I used that last week when I went sourcing. But otherwise, I don't really use Inventory Lab for profit. It'll show the profit of my shipment because I use it for sending FBA shipments. But I use Seller Board for all tracking my profit. It's super easy. I'm pretty sure it's still only $19. It's inexpensive to sign up for a month compared to every other thing. But it has an app. It shows you a photo of what's sold. And so it's really a quick visual instead of like scrolling through Amazon to see what's sold in your app. Well, all right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to drop the code in the description. If you want to join the Q4 group, keep an eye out. It will be, what day is it? This time next month, it will be open, but I think it opens a couple days before that. So just keep an eye out for that. We're going to limit the size of it. So you want to get in early if you do want to join before it shuts down. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will be back next week for another Q4 video. I can't remember which one it is yet, but thanks. All right, have a great night, everyone. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll be back in September for another one. It'll probably be Q4, but I think I'm going to dive into OA a little more. That was my plan anyways. We'll see how it goes.